Yeah.
But I think that there's also a question when it comes to people who do need help. And Lum wrote down, do you think that there's a time in which a person should not be held accountable for something that they said or done?
And I think that time is exactly where you mentioned it, because it relates to what we were talking about before. A lot of times people want to pin artists to be role models. But as a person who loves a lot of mediums of art, there's painters that are cutting their fucking ear offs and blinding themselves and doing crazy shit. We have manga artists throwing themselves off of roofs and going crazy and having crippling shit. There are rappers getting shot. I don't know any fucking art genre where you're going to find perfect role models across the board. This shit is emotional anything for us. Dumping grounds, shooting ranges, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like you need people like Eminem and people like DMX and people who's like, yo, I'm going to get on here and say the most psychotic shit you ever fucking heard. Because in reality, I may really go out and kill somebody if I know. And I'm fine saying that on this song too. And I feel like once you put that responsibility of role model on there, people like them suffer, and also people like Kodak suffer because you hear because you don't get a chance to hear that. You just hear somebody what you think they're glorifying on some shit. But to me, I can listen to some shit and be like, just because there's so much shit I went through, I can hear a lot of genuine shit in certain rappers. So it's like, damn, I really relate to that. Like, because I relate to being a kid in certain situations where people will just look at you like, well, stop talking about that. And it's like, yo, you sound crazy for somebody who has certain things in their DNA. I feel like you should be able to have the growth in the room to work through your mental health on songs and in your art. And I understand that, there's people who look up to Kodak, so there's a lot of people who can't really decipher a lot of the shit that he goes through. Like people looked up to DMX. I'm sure there's somebody who looked up to DMX and took his shit completely left where I probably took it right. Because I looked at DMX like, damn, this dude went through all this pain, he went through all this shit, and he's putting this on a song. So he don't really got to be out there doing it, you know what I mean? Like, at least in my brain, because I'm like, if he's not saying this, he's probably going to be out there doing it. I always seen it as therapy. And I definitely think that shit gets shamed in a lot of ways. It's like another way, because, therapy in the black community is a hard thing to, I want to say sell, but a hard thing to communicate. And I feel like when you get therapeutic on songs, you know what I mean? If you're not like a super role model, like I say it all the time, like I'm not looking for I'm grown. I don't need rappers to be my role models. I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man. So if you want to vent, you got some crazy shit to say, and it slap, and I feel like it's genuine, I'm gonna hear it for real.
Like, say Drake.
You know what? That was something that definitely came to mind. Well, first off, I think like being you is your superpower. Yeah. So like you being authentic and vulnerable, like that's gonna help somebody else through their trials and tribulations and what they're going through. So like, in order to like relate with people or for people to see that like as an artist, I think that being vulnerable and being real about your situation is like, that's what you should be doing with your art. Like you're here to, art is like a piece of you. There's a lot of people can't separate the art from them. Absolutely. They don't know who they are without it. Absolutely. So it's like, I condone vulnerability. So I feel like you said, if that's really how you feel and that's something you're going through, you're not the only person on this earth that just went through that. So somebody's going to listen to this, and like you said, it's going to slap. Because they're going to think, because when I listen to music, I think of specific times in my life where I felt like I'd be in the music video in my head. Yeah. And I see the scene. I know like exactly what nigga did what or who did this to me. And I'm like, it's that person. And we in the music video, we walking through it in real life, but I'm picturing myself in that scene. Yeah. And it's like, because I've lived it. And that's the only way you can like think it and imagine like what that would look like and what it feels like. That's why certain songs like you start crying or you feel like, even in church, like you get the Holy Spirit, and it's like that, though it strikes a chord inside of you. So like people want all this tampered down, just not authentic versions of people to appease them. But I think a lot of what's going on in society right now is we have all these channels with things that match our opinion, and nobody wants an opposing opinion. And people are trying to say that being real is bad or we shouldn't do it. And it's like, well, then we're all going to be walking around like robots. And it's like somebody has to be real. And if that offends you, cool, turn it off. Yeah, exactly. Turn the song off. Like, go somewhere with that. So it's just, do I feel like they could be held accountable? Yeah. If it's something that is like harmful to somebody or it's like hate speech or whatever. Yeah, for sure. But even in that, like, if
that.
that's how you feel and that's something you're going through, like, why can we not have a conversation around it? Like, you can feel how you feel and I can feel how I feel, and that's how you get understanding.
Yeah, I think
you have to have those conversations.
People care too much about things they can't control. Like, even with certain, I promise you, tomorrow, a white rapper could come out and he could have a song and an album. And the album could be N.I.G.G.E.R. Mm-hmm. He has the right to do that, in my opinion. It's his art.
It's like
it can be mad if I'm not going to protest it.
I mean, he got the right
on it.
It's like Beyonce.
You might catch a right.
You could. You might catch a right. Yeah. You got to be. Listen. You got to be. That's your responsibility. It's like people think, oh, I have freedom of speech. You definitely do. Someone also has the freedom to slap the shit out of you if they want to go to court and take the charges afterwards. They do. Like, there's responsibilities that comes with the things you say. The internet has removed responsibility from things you say from a lot of people.
It's cast the illusion of unresponsibility,
irresponsibility.
Well, that's not what I'm trying to say. But it's cast. it has cast the illusion that people are not responsible for what they say.
Yeah.
Or for people to put you in a box. Like, I was just saying, sure. Like, for Beyonce, like, oh, you can't do country music. Who says?
Yeah, says who?
I can't be this person, but she's from Texas.
Yeah. And
she grew up down there, so she can't be this thing.
And country music is ours, too. Y'all gotta stop letting people. Y'all be literally telling us we can't do black shit. It be driving me so crazy.
The guitar and
banjo 15 minutes
are
to Google where country music
of an African instrument. They wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for black people's instruments. That's a whole nother conversation. You know what I mean? Because string instruments are not native to Europeans. Yeah, that's not what they was doing.
I think you can't hold people accountable for some of the things they say. I mean, look at Millie. But
who?
Millie.
Who's that?
Ain't that his name? The one that was in jail for
Oh, he's still in jail. You talking about Melly?